Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And yes, the title is correct. We are getting Supercarriers in World of Warships. And this is something that I'm pretty sure nobody asked for and very, very few wanted altogether. Now, well, let's just go ahead and get into the dev blog. Link to this will be in the description down below. And I'll throw up any relevant images or artwork as we go through the dev blog. So let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Alright, close test 11.1 new ships. Japanese cruiser Maya, American aircraft carriers Hornet and Yorktown, as well as two new super ships, British aircraft carrier Eagle and American aircraft carrier United States, were added to the game for testing. So first up, the Maya, a heavy Takao class cruiser in the midst of World War II. It underwent a refit during which one of its main caliber turrets was dismantled and anti-aircraft artillery was significantly strengthened. The cruiser is armed with 8 powerful 203mm guns that have high accuracy and chance to cause a fire by HE shells, but low firing range. She is also equipped with 4 610mm quadruple torpedo tubes with wide aiming angles, something rare for Japanese cruisers, and high torpedo damage and speed. Maya has good concealment, high speed, and HP pool, well-armored deck, but a vulnerable citadel, like other Japanese cruisers. She is equipped with a main battery reload booster consumable, which is not standard for Japanese cruisers, along with the repair party and fighter consumable, and a choice between the DFAA or hydroacoustic search in a single slot. In comparison with the Atago, Maya is equipped with main battery reload booster and has more powerful and faster torpedoes. At the same time, she has fewer main battery guns, less armored deck, as well as a lower range and higher reload time of torpedoes. And they do include the stats here for the Maya. So her 230mm gun, she only has a 15.3 kilometer range, which really isn't bad for a tier 7. This is a tier 7 cruiser? What? Huh. Okay, so it's a tier 7. Alright, that was tier 8. That's really not bad for a tier 7 cruiser. I mean, it's on the shorter side, but definitely workable. HE Alpha is 3300. She has 34mm of HE pin. 70% chance of causing a fire. Her AP and HE come out the tubes at 840 meters a second. AP does a maximum damage of 4,700. 15-second reload time. Sigma of 2.0 and maximum dispersion of 130. Her torpedo tubes, again, 4x4 610s. Maximum damage of 20,967, 8 kilometer range, 76 knots. They reload in 120 seconds. Maximum speed 35.5 knots, 780 meter turning circle radius. A base surface detect of 12.8, although you cannot equip the module on it because this is a tier 7 ship. But even with the commander skill, that should be nice and low. Again, DFA, damage con, fighter repair, main battery reload booster is active for 15 seconds. And it cuts the reload time down in half. So with a, 15-second reload time. So cut that down to about, 7.5 seconds. So you can get 2-ish salvos off pretty quickly. Maybe 3 if you time it right. Alright, so that's an interesting cruiser. It looks like it might be a pretty decent one, but we'll see when she comes out. On to the main feature. Okay, first up, the Tier 8 American aircraft carriers Hornet and Yorktown were added to the game. Their parameters are in the pre-configuration phase and will be announced later. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, they've added the Hornet and the Yorktown. I think we all know what this means, and I'm pretty sure they're trying to hide it for now. The Hornet is more than likely, I would put money down right now, going to have B-25s some way. Because the Doolittle raid is what the ship is most well known for, and one that we've talked about before in previous videos, talking about future premiums that could be added to the game. The Hornet with B-25s is certainly one of them. Very historical moment. Big moment for naval aviation, of course, and getting back at Japan after Pearl Harbor for the United States. And even in the images that they've released, it's the Hornet, and yeah, but there's something missing on the flight deck, which is, of course, most of the planes. There's a very small number of what I believe will probably be the rocket planes on the rear of the flight deck, but the rest of the flight deck is missing. Yeah, so I suspect that bare flight deck space will probably be taken up with B-25s. How would they balance that in game? I don't know. I'd imagine they'd be very tough planes and have an eternally long reload time for the carrier. And they'll probably be level bombers, of course, too, with a very high number of bombs, but very slow. And we'll see how it works out. That's the only reason why I see they would add in a Hornet and a Yorktown. Yorktown, I'll put money on probably a better balanced Enterprise. Because at this point now we'll have Enterprise, Yorktown, and Hornet in the game. All three of them. So that's what I'm thinking. Yorktown, a more well-balanced Enterprise, or one that they can maybe adjust to the current game with the current mechanics and stuff. Because Enterprise, as good as it was, it's really a shadow of its former self. But its former self was so stupidly strong, it's still a pretty good ship, and definitely overpowered in some aspects, but definitely not as much as it used to be. So I could see why they would want to take that, retool it a little bit, and release a better balanced version of it for sale. So those that want, a Yorktown class carrier can have a Yorktown. And Hornet, again, I don't see any other reason for adding this in if they're not adding in the B-25s on it. It'll be an interesting time with B-25s, and I know CV bad, but I mean, I can't say I'm upset that if they go in that direction, with the B-25s, I'll be okay with that and and we'll see how they get balanced too. Who knows? We don't know how this is going to work yet. They haven't released the stats, but if it's balanced and they can pull it off, I'd very much like to see it in game. All right, the super carriers now, starting with the Eagle. So, Eagle, an aircraft carrier originally developed one of the Audacious class ships. It was completed to a greatly modified design and subsequently converted to operate the most modern types of deck aviation for the 1950s, including jet aircraft. So, the Eagle isn't really a super carrier. It's an Audacious with more modern technology and more modern aircraft equipped, including jets. Now, we'll get to the jets in a second, and yes, you heard me right. These ships have jets. It's not completely unheard of in game. Midway back in I believe the alpha stages, she had jets. But that was in the RTS stage, of course, too. But yeah, this is getting somewhere. So here's the big one. A legitimate super carrier. The United States. Yes, we have the United States ship, the United States. The United States ship, United States. God, that can be a tongue twister. All right. A variant of the United States Super Aircraft Carrier project that sees it become a Navy strike ship with a corresponding change in the architecture and equipment of the ship. So this was a real ship, kind of. So, 1948, the Navy is looking for a way to deploy nuclear weapons. And they came up with this super carrier design, which would be the United States. The main difference between the design there's several main differences between the design that they came up with and what we see in game, was that in order to accompany the aircraft heavy enough to carry nuclear weapons, the ship had to be a completely flat top, which meant no island at all. Now, if you notice from the image that should have popped up on screen, this ship does have an island. And from what I can see from the general deck design, it looks like the shape of the deck is correct, and including the funnels that stick out the side, which is funny because they had to put those on there for it being a completely flat deck, but they did slap an island on it in the version we're getting in game. So there's no funnels behind it. You'd think they would just abandon that and go to the conventional funnel phase, but you know what? Actually, it's pretty neat seeing that on there to kind of a nod at its original design. So this is legitimately a super carrier. This would have been a super carrier if it had been completed. It was canceled in, but not long after the kill was laid down. Yes, it was canceled in 1949, 5 days after they laid down the kill. Yeah, because of military cuts, of course, and we wouldn't see a super carrier to the Forstall class came along. But yes, a legitimate super carrier is being added into the game. Now, it is worthy to note that the Eagle and the United States are super ships. They're not tier 10 ships. So, yeah, but they are looking at adding in super ships into random battles. So this will be something all right. Now, They do say down here, Eagle in the United States will have two types of squadrons, standard squadrons and tactical squadrons. The standard squadrons are the primary strike force of the new carriers, while the tactical squadrons consist of jet aircraft and are best suited for quick point-to-point attacks against single targets. And they do include some videos down here showing them off with these new types of aircraft. And yes, the jets are stupidly fast. They go, I believe, 340 knots. And yes, you heard that right. 340 knots. And you can control them. However, their engine boost cannot recharge. And you only get them... They don't give a specific time. But it's going to be like the Issei's and the Tonei's attack aircraft, where you have to wait 2 minutes for it to charge up. So you get your normal attack squadrons, but then you get these tactical attack squadrons on top of that. Now, they are a small number. They carry a small number of armament per plane as well. So it's not going to be like, you got Nakhimov squadrons coming at you at 340 knots, which is a little bit more comforting, but still. Jets are coming to the game. So, yeah. We'll see how this goes. Again, I don't think anyone asked for this. It's an interesting thing for them to experiment with. But, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it just yet. I like the Yorktown idea. I'm sorry, not the Yorktown. I like the Hornet idea, if that is what it is. It's a very historical ship. It was a really, really, really major historical event, and it's nice seeing it in the game for enough CVs in the game. But the super ships with the jets, I don't know. We'll see how well they can balance it. I don't think they're going to throw it out the window or anything like that. I think if they come this far to well, they're announcing it to the public, it's probably going to become a thing. I do want to know, how the heck do you shoot down a plane going 340 knots? You don't really even have to worry about continuous AA damage if you're going that freaking fast, of course. I think, that's obviously the idea. But maybe if you get lucky with a flak, you got to, a full AA build kid, small into Holland or something, or Austin or something to counter that. But, man, what a time to be alive, boys, and to be experimenting this. Now, of course, the two planes that you launch, that is it. It's not a full squadron, so once you lose a plane, it's obviously a pretty major loss. But again, with planes that go freaking 340 knots, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I know that we'll probably hear a lot from a whole lot of y'all, and yeah, this is something that it'll be interesting, and I'll leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will be live streaming tonight here on the channel from 5 p.m. U.S. Central Time to 8 p.m. U.S. Central Time. So please make sure to come out for this stream tonight. We had a great stream last week, and hope we have an even better one this week. So hope to see you guys there tonight. Hope you have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. Stay warm if you live on the East Coast. By the way, it's about to get pretty nippy there. And I hope to catch you guys in the next one.